The offseason is one of my favorite times of the year in the NFL. Reason being because we have these wish lists, and of course when different players become available, they get added to those wish lists on who we hope the Baltimore Ravens acquire. And we got some fans that will give you every single reason why this player, that player, this player should be a Baltimore Raven. But then on the flip side, we get a list of every single reason why those same players should not be Baltimore Ravens. But how does Todd Monken feel about that topic? Because the conversation can get brought up like, oh, man, y'all want everybody. How are we going to make this player and keep this player happy? What about target share? This player is going to be crying for the ball. This player is going to be a diva. This player is going to want more touches. This player is going to want to be more involved. And those are all, they're good arguments. But y'all know how I feel about it. I always say, like, look, it's a good problem to have. Like, I know when Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, when we had that conversation, it's like, hold up, we got a plethora of tight ends. Oh, this is great. I remember when last year we had Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. They were doing their thing, and the Baltimore Ravens still acquired Deontay Johnson as a third receiver, a potential third receiver. So the Ravens were like, hey, it could be a good problem to have. It obviously didn't work out with him, but you get what I'm saying. When we started this season with Derrick Henry and Justice Hill and Rasheen Ali. And then later on down the road, Keaton Mitchell came back, and we were all scrambling, wondering, oh my goodness, how is Todd Monken going to incorporate Keaton Mitchell into the mix too? But we looked at those as good things, as positive things, because when you have a lot of good players at different positions, that makes your team better. That makes your team stronger, and that makes your team a lot harder for defenses to deal with. But don't take it from me. Let's see what Todd Monken had to say about this subject. And shout out to my guy, It's Just E, for dropping this clip.
I don't want as many players because they're going to all want the ball. No, I'd rather try to manage a lot of really good players that are all capable of really helping us win and move and being explosive and try to manage their touches than not having enough.
And obviously there's even more context to that clip, but from what Todd Monken said, it's pretty straightforward. Like, he said he would rather, because some people will say, oh yeah, that person's gonna cry about targets, oh, how are you gonna manage that? He said he would rather be managing multiple great players, multiple good players, than not have enough of them. Todd Monken, not a fan of the game, not somebody who's sitting on their chair over here making videos about their favorite football team and whatnot. No, not that, but somebody who's actually knee deep in the game as an offensive coordinator, been a coach for a long time in this league, and obviously has had plenty of success, especially recently. Todd Monken said it himself. It's a good problem to have. It's something that he actually prefers. So next time if you want somebody to come to the Baltimore Ravens, especially on offense, you want Lamar Jackson to get another weapon, you want somebody to complement Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, whoever it is, whatever the position may be. Next time we bring it up and somebody tries to shut us down, we're going to refer them to our current offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and let them know what he had to say about it. So now we reach my favorite part of these videos, where we get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com, or for the Team Keep It Clean patrons, you can send your question in a DM directly on Patreon. And if you would like to become one, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. First question came from my guy, Contact Deedy. What's up, baby? Ain't heard from you in a little minute, but it's all good. Good hearing from you. Now, he said, what's going on? It's been a minute. It certainly has been, my friend. But he said, I know you get a lot of questions. So when you get to this one, we might already know what happened with Mark. But my question is, if we trade Mark Andrews, who would you rather get? Max Crosby or DK Metcalf? He said, I'm going Max because we all know paying 2 tight ends is out of the question. But let's think about it for a second. 2 tight ends won't cost us as much as one X wide receiver that the fan base keeps asking for. Yeah, tight ends will be a little bit cheaper. Now, you talking if we traded Mark, you talking about Max Crosby? You can't be touching not Raiders Max Crosby, because they just re-signed him to a huge contract extension. He is officially the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. So congrats to him. It's a little, not a really solid congrats, but really good for him. We knew it was a pipe dream anyway, but still, good for him. Seriously though. So that's not happening. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't leaving the Raiders. But so DK Metcalf, I mean, so now that option for Max Crosby is gone. He ain't there no more. Well, he is there, but he ain't on the trade market. And if he ever was, hey, who knows? But Mark for DK Metcalf, I wonder how that will go. Mike McDonald, could Mike McDonald put in a little favor for John Harbaugh and vice versa too? Because, hey, both teams would be getting good players. So the Ravens would be acquiring DK Metcalf. The Seahawks would be acquiring Mark Andrews. But the hold up with that, and we talked about this in a video the other day, I don't think the Ravens would want to pay a DK Metcalf right here, right now. So I don't think they would do it. But you ain't asked what I think the Ravens would do. You asked what I would rather. And if I had to choose between the two, I would have went with Max Crosby, because while I do love DK Metcalf, I would love for him to be a Baltimore Raven. I feel like Max Crosby's impact on this team would be even bigger than a DK Metcalf's on this team, because Max Crosby, like, we don't have that difference maker on the defensive line. We don't have that at edge. We haven't had that in a very, very long time. So his impact would not only be as a pass rusher, but as a run stopper too. Like, he just wrecks games, period. So we don't have that right now. As far as wide receiver, we do have deep threat and Rashad Bateman, contested catches, Rashad Bateman too, and playmakers, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, and route runners, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. We got that. As far as a taller guy, a more jump ball guy, and I know DK Metcalf, sometimes he be struggling with that a bit. He don't always play up to his size, but we don't have that, and DK Metcalf could bring that. He could also bring that deep playability. He could add to what we already have. He could complement the guys that we have so well right now. But I just feel like, as far as, again, impact from jump, I think it would be Max Crosby. Next question came from my guy Tyrek. He said, go get DK. He said, what's good, Ingravenvids? I got a trade proposal for you. Seahawks said they want a first and a third round pick for DK Metcalf. Okay, bet. How about we trade Mark Andrews a third and a fifth round pick for DK Metcalf? Honestly, don't even think it will take all that. I really don't. Now, if the Ravens just simply wanted to let go of Mark Andrews, I think they could do that. They could involve him in a trade package, but I don't think you would even, if you did that, I would say do Mark Andrews in the fifth. And I think that would be more than enough, because Mark Andrews is certainly worth more than a third round pick. Like, he's, again, don't just get caught up in the playoffs. Now, playoffs had a lot to do with stuff, but don't just get caught up in that. Mark Andrews is still a really good tight end, like a really good tight end. And he would definitely make Geno Smith's job a lot easier. Safety blanket. He can make some nice plays. And you already know. Y'all already know everything about Mark Andrews. Y'all been watching him his whole career. So I ain't even got to say that. He said, I might be crazy. I might not be, but let me know what you think. And sadly, just like Mark Andrews about to be soon, I'm out. Next question came from my guy Anderson. Oh, this is a good one. He said, hey, Ingraven, as an Eagles fan, I'm a huge fan of your channel. Hey, I appreciate that, Anderson. Thank you. He said, it's crazy to say this, but I'd actually like to see Baltimore win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. We appreciate that. We would love to see that same thing. So we share the same sentiments, my friend. He said, I saw a rumor that the Eagles are interested in Myles Garrett. Yeah, we've seen that one too. And he said, and moves like this are exactly why I think the Ravens GM needs to take a page from the Eagles playbook. Be aggressive, take risks, go after game changers like Miles, Micah, or Debo, then build out the offensive line and defensive line instead of drafting projects. Hey, you got it. I ain't mad at nothing that you said at all. And none of it is disrespect or anything like that. But, it's real. He said, take a page from the Eagles playbook, be aggressive and take risks. Go after game changers. Do it. Like, we heard the same thing about the Eagles and Myles Garrett. Like, if they were to land him, Is that even fair? But it's crazy because we wouldn't even be surprised. We wouldn't even be surprised if they got Myles Garrett at this point, how the Eagles been moving. He said, do you think Eric needs to take more risk and stop being so conservative with spending? Yes, I do think that Eric DeCosta Ravens should be more aggressive and just really go after even better. Like, really, like, again, difference makers. Something that we've been talking about for a while, too. Difference makers, game changers, playmakers. You can never have enough. Don't just be like, all right, well, we got this guy, so that's straight. And you got to have depth on the roster. So not every single person is going to be a big-time game changer, big-time playmaker, big-time proven player. We get that. But you could still do a lot more at different positions. Whether, like, we look, obviously we had a game changer, a difference maker, a playmaker at quarterback already. At Ravens, they hadn't had that at running back. Like, what did they do last offseason? They went and got it. Well, they tried to the season before at the trade deadline. They tried to get Derrick Henry. It didn't work out. Offseason, boom, they got him. You see what he did for this football team. Immediate impact like that. Immediate impact. At wide receiver, I was hoping that they would do it last offseason, but they stuck with their guys, and Rashad Bateman paid off. Zay Flowers continued to do his thing. But they tried to add Deontay Johnson, too. We know how that worked. Well, it really didn't work. So they could do some more there. But then on the flip side of the ball, you think about the defensive line, Travis Jones, Michael Pierce, Justin Matabig, well, Nnamdi Madubuike, Kyle Vanoy, Odafe Oweh, David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson. So it's a solid group. Not a bad group, but they lack in that, like, boom, that player that's like, whoa, let's go. At inside linebacker, you got Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is a really good linebacker, very, very smart linebacker. He's not a big-time playmaker, but he's a really good player, but he's not a big-time playmaker, if that makes sense. But then on the back end, Ardarius Washington, playmaker. He can be a game changer. Kyle Hamp, you already know. Marlon Humphrey, you already know. So you could use more. You could do more. And if you added more to what you already got, because defense ended up being really good, but you add more playmakers, better playmakers, more playmakers, offense and defense side of the ball, and special teams too, then you can go from being a really good team, really, really good team, which the Ravens are, to potentially being great. Next question came from my guy Zlager. He said, I just received a notification that Davante Adams was released. Do you think Baltimore will reach out to him? I think if he was available after maybe like 5 or 6 days of free agency, if he was available after that first wave of free agency, then I think so. Early on in free agency, no. Baltimore Ravens, if they were to acquire Davante Adams, his market would have to drop, which I don't think it will. Teams would just really have to be passed on him, which I don't think they will. And his price would have to come down, which I don't think it will. So Baltimore Ravens, I don't think that they would talk to him at all. I think they might check the market to see what his market is, but I don't see it. I think he'll be a good fit, but I don't think that they would reach out. He said, also, I just wanted to let you know that I watch your videos all the time and want to thank you for all the updates. I be so busy, I can't make it the time to do my research on what's going on during the off season. You are greatly appreciated. Now take your flowers and don't try to reverse it back on us. Like he said, don't try to reverse it back on us like you always do. Just take the darn flowers, man. I appreciate you, Zlager. I love you, man. I thank you for that a lot, man. Next questions came from my guy, Jarvo. He said, Jair Alexander or Darius Slay? Jair Alexander, I think he's a better corner. Darius Slay is a healthier corner, though. Even though Darius Slay, he be getting burnt. Slay, oh, gosh. Jair, I'm going to go with Jair Alexander. But just have our backup ready for action. He said, according to some sources, Tyler Linderbaum will be looking around $50 million guaranteed. Do you think he's worth that? Yeah. He's our starting center. We normally, there are some off times, but we normally snapping the ball has been pretty good. Blocking been pretty good. He got some times where he get beat. Got some times where he do some errant snaps. But for the most part, those are like the outliers for Tyler Linderbaum. He's been really, really good. So whatever the market is for starting centers, yeah, he got to get it. He said, with that new Saquon deal, 2 years for $41.2 million with $36 million guaranteed and $15 million incentives, how would that impact our extension plan for the King? It would have a tough impact. We actually talked about that in another video, but that will make it harder for Derrick Henry and the Ravens, because Derrick Henry, while he may not command that, he could take a look at that and be like, oh, this what y'all are offering me for? No, I want even more. He said, how would you feel about Chris Godwin as wide receiver 3? I wouldn't be mad at that. He's a name that I have been forgetting about as a free agent now. Getting ready to be a free agent in a couple of days. I wouldn't be mad at that one. That would be a solid one, especially him being healthy. He showed what he could do over there in Tampa as a number 2. So if he was a number 3 over with the Ravens, yeah, that would be a good one. It wouldn't be the sexiest move in the world, but that would be a really, really solid one, because it will provide us with a receiver who got experience as a starter, but could come in and be a complementary player to what we have right now. He said DK requested a trade, but can we get him and actually re-sign him with all other players up for contract extensions? Yeah, I don't even think they would even entertain it. He said, how you feel about Tyler Lockett? Do you see the Chiefs stealing Ronnie Stanley from us? Oh yeah, I think if Ronnie Stanley becomes a free agent, I think he's as good as gone. I think if he even sniffs free agency, then he's out of it. If he makes it to March 10th, that whole legal tampering period, he's gone, in my opinion. He's out of here. As far as Tyler Lockett, I do think that is a very Raven type of move, because you don't have to trade for him. He's not going to cost you much money. You could even agree to a deal with him right now. But you can actually get a feel for what his market is based off of what happens and really what doesn't happen right now with him already officially being a free agent. See, you can hit up teams around the league, see if they're interested in him or whatnot, or just see if teams are interested in him, see if teams are talking to him and whatnot. Reach out to him and reach out to his agent and whatnot, see if anybody has talked to him and whatnot. You could do that right now. So that could sort of let you know like where Tyler market is with how the NFL really feels about him and whatnot. And if he ain't really getting no buzz like that, you ain't hearing about no visits, you ain't hearing about no contract offers, you ain't hearing about none of that, then that will probably make him even more attractive to the Baltimore Ravens.